This is a podcast by WellHouse Church, where personal spiritual growth is fueled through a variety of practices rather than a single prescriptive time of devotion, where we discuss different spiritual practices that help us be more present with God, others, and ourselves. What's going on, practitioners?
What up? How we doing?
Back again with another episode about the rule of life, specifically play. So let's do it.
Yeah, and it's actually quite a good day to be doing it.
Because it's Saturday.
Well, not just as a Saturday, but
It's also college football.
yeah, it's like the first real day of college football. There have been a couple of days before this, but like today's the first real day of real games. Like Baylor plays tonight. Everybody's playing. The Penn State-Wisconsin game's on right now. Like Clemson and Georgia play. Like Alabama plays Miami. Like so good. And I love college football. There are very few things more in the world that I love than college football.
Yeah, it's also Labor Day weekend.
It is also Labor Day weekend.
And we're going to play
golf. We're going to play golf on Monday. And here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to put those things outside of a spiritual construct.
Yeah.
Those things are a part of your person. They're valuable to your person and the health of your person, and that makes them spiritual.
Done in balance.
In what way?
In the way that if you spend all your time in play, and you're not as productive human being, there could be a little bit of a problem.
I think it would depend on life circumstance and things, because you're going to go through seasons where you're going to play more than others.
Of course. But
at the same point, very few people can only play.
Yeah.
Because you need money to live.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that, like, in balance, play is a really good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
But if you're kind of walking into a process addiction with your play, that's when it becomes maybe not a good thing.
Yeah, well, part of it, and that's the other thing, and I don't disagree with you. I am trying to fight that a little bit, just because my suspicion, the average person in America, the average adult in America, so busy, doesn't play much.
Yeah.
It doesn't do things that they enjoy, and therefore misses out on the beauty of life.
I would agree with that for sure. I was talking with a friend of mine last night. You're always in pursuit of something better. You're always in pursuit of a better life, that you forget that there's life happening around you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's a part of the play thing.
Yeah.
Experience life now.
I think, so what Ken says is that play can be categorized as something that comes in a variety of forms, including crafts, painting, acting, dancing, hiking, sports, blowing bubbles, splashing in water, laughing, joking. Whatever its expression, it helps us more fully appreciate how we live, move, and have our being in God.
Yeah.
It's putting yourself in a position where you can enjoy the simple pleasures of life that God has given you as an act of grace and fellowship with you. Do you not think that God knew that we would build golf courses? Do you not think that as technology developed that God knew that we would build arcade centers and go-kart places and putt-putts and fun houses, and that music would come and people would love to dance and
sing and
all of that is a gift from God. So indulging in them in the right ways is an act of experiencing God.
Yeah,
taking care of your person, taking care of your being, and getting to a place where you're the best version of yourself. Because here's the other thing. I think for a long time, at least in the traditions that we grew up in, I remember feeling like Christians couldn't have fun.
Yes. Same.
I remember that. And I don't know that anyone ever explicitly told me that. But I remember the construct of faith that I had built in my head based on the narrative I was hearing was that Christians don't really have fun.
They're boring.
They're boring. They don't really do anything. They go to church. They sit around, watch TV. They go to work. They might have a dinner with some people from church once a week or something. But largely, Christians don't have fun.
Yeah, because everything that is fun can lead to sin.
Right. Which I just fully reject.
Yeah, I do too.
That idea now.
I do too.
I think there is so much about God that I missed in a faith construct like that, that what ends up happening is you end up living a faith that's not life-giving.
Yeah.
It's life-taking. Because here's the deal. God wants the best version of you so that he can fellowship with the best version of you.
Yeah.
The best version of you only comes when you incorporate play into your life.
Let me tell you that one of the healthiest I've ever been in my life was when I was playing shows in a little sports bar every week. I was just, I was playing, right? Like I was doing my thing, and I wasn't even playing Christian music. But like it felt healing. It made me feel more whole because I was embracing this thing, this passion that God gave me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Ken has a statement or a couple statements in here that I think are really helpful. Ronald Rolheiser in The Holy Longing says, becoming like Jesus is as much about having a relaxed and joyful heart as it is about believing and doing the right thing, as much about proper energy as about proper truth.
Yeah.
I think I missed that for the longest time in my faith. I don't think that I thought God cared about the things that made me happy. I think I viewed God in a way that said, God's up there dictating what I must do in order to make him happy, and he doesn't care how it makes me feel in the time.
That's so funny. I had the same experience growing up.
Isn't it terrible? And in the same way, doesn't it say a lot about the tradition that we grew up in? Because you and I never had this conversation.
But I genuinely felt like everything I'm supposed to do on this earth is to make him happy. But he doesn't care whether or not I'm happy.
Yeah, which just totally wrong.
Yeah.
Gustavo Gutierrez, probably the inventor, father of liberation theology, which, you know, I'm a huge fan of. I think liberation theology contextualizes the gospel in a way that super helpful.
Yeah.
This is what Ken records him saying. He suggests that having a healthy spirituality involves feeding our souls in three ways: through prayer, practicing justice, and by having good things that we enjoy. Friendships, good food, wine, the healthy leisure that keeps our souls mellow and grateful.
Yeah.
A restorative rule of life, our trellis that supports life with and for God, will certainly include times of play and leisure.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Let's be vulnerable here. How well do you think you play? Well, actually, before we get there, what would be things that you would put in your own life in category, like categorically, these are play?
So for me, making cocktails.
Okay.
And hanging out with my buddies.
Okay, those are your two things.
Yeah.
So anything you do hanging out with your buddies is cool, but as long as you're hanging out with your friends, that's play.
That's play.
Okay.
Whether it's we're chilling at someone's house, drinking beer, whatever, or we go out, go to the movies, do whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That's play.
And if you could give yourself a grade on how well you play, you A, B, C, D, or F, or W.
Withdrawal. Can I give myself an I? Complete. Come back to this later. But no.
No, you can, but like today, how well?
In this moment, it's
so
gotten better in the last 6 months.
Let's do it this way. Give yourself a grade on where you think you are right now as a spiritual person in spiritual health, and then grade yourself against that on play.
I would say in spiritual health, I've had a pretty tough week. Mm-hmm. And so it was like I found myself having to rely on God a lot to get through this week.
Yeah.
And even though my spiritual health wasn't great this week, I felt myself having to lean on him more and more.
Yeah.
And so at this moment, I would give myself like a B+.
Okay.
And then for my play category, that has gotten better in the last 6 months. If you had asked me that a year ago, I would have said D-.
Yeah.
But now I think I'm at like a B-.
Yeah, so me answering those same questions, I think my spiritual health overall probably at a B+. That's where I was going to say.
Yeah.
I still got some stuff that I got to work out. But in the play category, man, I think I'm a solid C-. I just don't do it a lot. Yeah. And I know it's so important. I just don't. But that's one of the things. So I'm changing my rule of life right now. If you don't know, listener, I announced last week on Pints of Perspectives that I'm actually going through a divorce. Yeah. I'm not going to detail it all out here. You can go listen to all of what happened on that episode. But currently I am going through a divorce. My wife is divorcing me. I didn't file. And she had an affair. She left me for another man. That happened in January. So I'm currently rewriting my rule of life and I'm asking myself questions like, who do I want to be as a person moving forward? Like, I'm releasing baggage that's come with this pain, or trying to. And who do I want to be moving forward? And so I'm rewriting my rule of life, and I'm going to write play into it more.
Yeah. And remember, you need to think about your play category too, like we talk about prayer. Right? Like it's a menu.
Yeah.
You don't just write. I mean, maybe you want to do this, but like I would encourage you not to just write, playing golf twice a month or something like that.
Right.
Incorporate relationships, incorporate different things.
Yep.
Get out of your comfort zone with your play. Because that is how you get a full experience on life.
Well, and I think even like for me, I would put play into the category for me because it's something I enjoy to do. Going outside on the back porch
with a cocktail
and a pipe and watching college football on my phone. That's play for me.
Yeah.
Now, here's the biggest problem. Big sports fan.
Yeah.
Follow all the sports. Don't watch any of them except football and golf.
Yeah.
Kind of a big problem that football is only 5 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Now, it helps that the 5 months out of the year that it is on is the majority of the time that you can't play golf here in Texas. Yeah. So it's okay. I get to sub them. But even just like for me, like get on my phone and watching YouTube videos of like golf channels that I follow or things like that. Yeah. Like leisure time counts as play also.
Absolutely.
I just am terrible that when I have quote unquote leisure time, I'll sit down and read books. Yeah. Which for me fall into the work category. Now, this is also a bit misleading for me because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these have overlap. But there's stress that comes with work that play alleviates.
Yeah, so I have been working on myself a lot in this time. And not combining work and leisure. Because I do find myself a lot whenever I'm having my evening cocktail and a pipe or whatever, sitting by the river, thinking about work.
Yeah.
Outlining content in my head.
Yep. No, trust me, I live that narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constantly, that's content. That's content. Yeah.
That is, and that defeats the purpose.
It does.
And so I have to, and I also I've been also trying to separate my play and also like mental health as well.
Yeah.
And like not just sitting with stress and anxiety, trying to pull that apart. Because again, that defeats the purpose of play.
Right.
The purpose of play is to get away from that, to separate yourself and self-care.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're sitting there with fears and anxieties trying to pull it apart, it's no longer healing.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah.
But like that needs to be its own thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Ken has a section in here. He says, God invites us to play. Can you imagine what story he chooses to tell as proof of that subsection?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you're not going to guess, but like when I tell you, you're going to think it's genius. He uses John 2, the wedding at Cana.
Oh, partying with Jesus.
This is what he says. Yeah, he says, when the wine ran out at the reception, Jesus performed his first miracle, creating exquisite wine. Yeah. He ate, drank, and celebrated with such zest that he was accused of being a glutton and a drunkard. Yet he was neither. He simply enjoyed life and loved being with people.
So if Jesus is enjoying life and enjoying the balance of work and play, we should also. And I think about this. Actually, I actually think about that story a lot, because where I get my decompression, where I get my play, is also in alcoholic beverages, and so did Jesus apparently, right? Like, and so like I think about that a lot. And for me, that is why hanging out with my buddies is a part of my play.
Yeah.
Because that's what Jesus was doing.
Yep.
Jesus was building relationships at this wedding.
Yep.
And he's having a few drinks, surrounded by good food and friends and family. And he's partying, man. Yep. Imagine what it would be like to party with Jesus.
I bet it'd be like no party you ever been to.
Mm-hmm. Be like, hey, Jesus, help me out.
Yeah. You seen those TikToks where it's those girls and they're like, the husband asks, "Hey, what are you drinking?" She's like, "Water." And he goes, "It looks like wine." And she goes, "Dang it, Jesus did it again." It would be like that, though.
It would.
It'd be kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
It
reminds me of that song "Beer with Jesus" by Thomas Rhett.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. So,
if you've never heard that song, go listen to it. It's cool.
What is play? Play is more like a meal shared with a beloved friend. It's something we engage in for its own sake, to enjoy the company of another and to savor the food. In play, there's no ulterior agenda. In our recreation, we simply delight in the company of God, others, and the rest of creation. We play when we love something so much that we feel it's worth doing, even if we don't do it particularly well. That's how I feel about golf.
You're pretty good.
I could be better.
I feel that.
That's my 3 speaking, but
yeah, my disintegration tells me that my cocktails are not always the best and they could be better.
Yep.
Even though I give them to people and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great."
Yeah, I get it.
I'm sure you're the same way about barbecue too.
Oh yeah. I guess I should put that in the category of play because I really do enjoy barbecuing.
Yeah. He smokes something like almost every day.
Yeah, the pit is on almost every day. Make some pork belly burn-ins tonight.
Yum.
After I make some patty melts. But so with that idea of play, here's my suspicion. Most people don't do it well.
Yeah.
Because of that, this is going to be a hard one for a lot of people to reintegrate into their rule of life because you don't do it well.
Just with the idea of the American dream and the drive that forces you, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a hard one.
Yep. So, listener, as you write your rule of life, I would urge you to first and foremost make time to play.
Yeah.
And do it in a way that is life-giving. Don't, once again, this is something to be enjoyed. Don't do it just because it's the next task you got to do on your to-do list.
Yeah.
Turn that part of your brain off and enjoy the time. Enjoy being in relationship. Enjoy fellowship. Enjoy fun. Enjoy activities that bring delight to you and those around you.